Got no hit through 8. We had a pinch hitter break it up. The rest of the guys, not the rest of the guys, most of the guys were flat today. Unacceptable. That's all I got. Flat. Period. Major league game. Got to respect it. Pretty simple.
This guy is in a no-win situation.
Yeah.
His team is a AAA team. You know, you're running out an outfielder every day who you paid more money to than you've ever paid a free agent before.
Terrible signing.
And he's just awful.
Awful. He's terrible. Not
I mean,
a terrible
you're,
person.
No, of course
just
not.
a terrible baseball player.
He's just a
That's
terrible.
all.
Listen, you can't. You're running a regular out there that you paid $70-something million to that has an on-base percentage of 500. That's 250 points from being like
Average.
any even type of relevant as an offensive player.
Yeah.
You're not even in the same friggin' solar system. Like, I mean, it's just.
He's bad.
You got a catcher, and granted, they're trying to play Corey Lee more, and they should. I mean, Corey Lee should be getting the majority of the at-bats, and they've done a slightly better job of that, I guess. But you got a catcher who can't hit his weight. You got guys playing out of position.
You got injuries up and down the lineup.
You got some injuries. Andrew Vaughn is not developed.
Those are a lot of
the
Ls.
entire team is a AA, AAA team. And I mean, it might not even be, to say that might not even be fair because at AA, there's better talent than what the White Sox have. This is like just a bunch of guys that are sort of in between, that are like maybe AAA guys that are kind of like washed up and not good enough for the big leagues. You can't even say it's a AA team. What's Pedro Grifol supposed to do? I don't know. And maybe
that's why
I don't need to defend Pedro Grifol.
Right.
I think he's been largely useless anyway since they hired him. But like what?
Nothing he can do.
I'm not going to get mad at him for being like we were. Now some of the guys were like, well, you know, we ran into a pretty good pitcher. Okay, you still shouldn't be no hit through 7.
I'm laying a bunt down in the 5th. I'm laying something down, trying to create some magic, trying to force somebody to make a play, anything.
And then how do they respond? You know, he said at least he thought the at-bats were more competitive, and I guess they were. I didn't see the whole game start to finish yesterday. When they went to the pen, when Pearson came in, you know, they made him work a little. I guess you could say the at-bats were slightly more competitive, but you end up, after the manager says that, you lose 5-1. Is that because the manager's message isn't getting through, or is it because your team is 15-40, and they're 15-40 in large part because of the roster you've assembled? Do you realize their differential right now is a -120? Do you want to take a guess at the next worst team in baseball? It's the Miami Marlins. You know what their differential is?
-79.
Yes, you hit it on the head. That was impressive.
Thank you. Feel good about
They're
that.
a -79. The White Sox are a -120. And while they are 15-40 and back to being close to Black's pace of 42 wins, they're on pace for 44.
Yes.
Their Pythag number, you know what their Pythagorean wins is? 13.4. They've been lucky.
In 2 games,
They've been lucky.
They've been lucky
They're
in 2 games.
15-40, and based off of their differential, they're a game and a half luckier
It's horrific.
than they otherwise would be. And that's Pedro Grifol's fault?
Do you know what the WAR is for Benintendi?
Negative.
-2.1. I mean, he has vaulted into becoming like the worst player in Major League Baseball.
Jesse had it last week.
Andrew Vaughn isn't much better.
No, he sure ain't.
Carmen, so yesterday, Sheets hit the solo home run in the 8th.
Yes.
If they had better at-bats yesterday than they did on Sunday, can you look up how many other hard-hit balls from yesterday?
That's a good question.
Because
that's a good question.
sitting there in the stands watching it, it's all a bunch of little slappy grounders. You know, like none of it is impactful. None of it. So okay, they're putting together better at bats. No one is squaring up the baseball.
No, like
nobody.
And I think Benintendi might have had 2 hits yesterday, didn't he? But like to Chris's point, I saw one of them. You know, a little fart off the bat.
Yeah, exactly.
Here you go.
Poof.
Little.
It went poof.
He actually had 3 hits. He went 3 for 4. He raised his average to 193. His on-base percentage is 230. The guy's slugging 271.
His OPS plus this year is 43.
Yeah,
His OPS plus this year is 43.
Terrible.
And, I mean, he's not the only guy.
Of course not.
But he is the poster child for the Chicago White Sox.
Paul DeYoung, on-base percentage, 287. Danny Mendick, you ready? This is a guy, God love him, right? You got to love him. and this is not a personal attack on any of these guys. This is what the White Sox lineup looks like on a daily basis. This is a big league ball club. Barely. Danny Mendick has an on-base percentage of 236. 236. Do you want to know what Martin Maldonado's on-base percentage is? His on-base percentage is 135. They usually say he can't hit his weight. His on-base percentage isn't his weight. On-base percentage.
Oh, boy.
And he continues to get at-bats.
He's handling the staff.
135 on-base percentage. 135. It's impossible.
He's